guys, welcome to the Premier Division Review Show. Myself and Philip Warner are here today. Keane, unfortunately, couldn't make it today. He got stuck in a football match. I don't know if people will be happy with that, Philip. Just me and you today.
Oh, the main man of the show disappearing again. Need to get that sorted out. We do. We need to get him down on some sort of contract, some sort of legal appointment that he needs to attend. But I know, look, I suppose it's not the worst excuse to be missing out on the show, being at a game of football. So, look, we'll see how we go. We'll try keep people entertained, and if not, sure, they'll always be next week.
Exactly. Brilliant stuff. Finished Shamrock Rovers 1, Drogheda United 1. We'll start off there, Philip. A tale of two penalties. Burke and Lyons with the penalties. Rovers had 3 at the back for this game, but interestingly, Aaron Green plays the left wing back. Drog started with 4 at the back, but then when Rovers actually took the lead, they moved to 3 at the back. I think that's because they felt Gannon and Green were getting an awful lot of space and they wanted to tie that up a little bit. Interestingly, Doyle and Lyons started on the bench, 15 goals between them this season, which is mad. Corcoran and Adeyemo came in up front, and Heaney came in for the injured James Brown. We'll talk about the penalties first, Philip. We'll start off with Shamrock Rovers penalty. Opinion on that one?
Not a penalty. No, I thought it was very, very soft, Keith. I don't know. The officiating, we say it every week, like there always seems to be controversy, and this is only the small part now. Let's be honest, we're going to talk about a lot more later on. But I just think the standard of refereeing in this division, it just bemuses me. It's like you have to give the players the credit. This is a professional league. Like, do you know what I mean? The reason why we were allowed to play matches behind closed doors because it is a professional league. But you can't have amateur decisions like that affecting games, and I do think both of them weren't penalties, being completely honest with you, Keith. But at the same time, I don't think either team deserved to win the game, so I don't think it's affected the result too much, you know. So as I said there for the Drogheda one as well, Keith, I don't think it's a penalty either. I just think they're very soft decisions, and I think Tim Clancy said it as well afterwards. He said he wouldn't have had any complaints if they weren't given. So I suppose you can only look at it and say that the officiating wasn't great, but the result in this game
benefited from it, so to speak.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and it didn't. I don't think it didn't play a major influence on it because the result I thought was a fair result overall. So yeah, I suppose they just need to start getting these decisions right though, because it drives people up the wall. But at the same time, me, you, other people all over the internet are chatting about these decisions all weekend, and it will be throughout the week as well, which can only it's a bit of a farce, but it keeps us all entertained at the same time. So I suppose you have it one side where it's good and one side where it's not so good. So I suppose it's trying to find that balance where there's probably fewer of those decisions. Maybe a couple of them are still there, but not as frequent as they've come.
Yeah, Shamrock Rovers, I thought, were the better side in the first half. Philip, they didn't create much, actually, even though they were the better side. I thought, though, they moved the ball well. I thought Graham Burke was dropping into pockets. He created, space and opportunities for others. Green and Gannon did well as the wing backs as well. I think Lucchini did struggle a bit. It's not really his best position. Green took advantage of that a little bit. Lucchini's a midfield player. But, I thought they played some good stuff without really creating. How did you see them in the first half?
I thought it was very stale. Like, they did play okay, but it's just the same thing again. Like, I don't want to repeat myself because people will be sick of me now, but like, it's the same thing week in, week out with Rovers. It's just, there's no penetration. There's no, there's a sort of half-arsed attempt to be direct, and then all of a sudden you're going forward 10 yards, then someone turns around and passes it back 15 yards, and you're going back and forth. Like, it's very frustrating to watch, and I suppose I think we're starting to be found out a bit about it now, because this is just starting to show that this squad doesn't seem to have that ability to do this, because it's not been like it's been a couple of weeks, Keith. This has been all season, like since the very first week. Like, I can't think of 90 minutes where we've went out and absolutely blown a team away. We haven't done it, and I don't think we're going to be able to do it, to be honest with you. And I suppose I'd never ever question Bradley. He's an absolute hero and a legend at the club, but like, he keeps coming out every week saying, well, we were the better side. You're not the better side if you're not getting results. Do you know what I mean? You can knock the ball around midfield all you want, but if you're not getting through and creating chances, like, you can't say you're the better side. Like, it's all for having possession, but when it comes to the finer things in this division, you need to be winning games. Do you know what I mean? And Rovers are very lucky that they've won so many games this season compared to other teams around them. Like, do you know what I mean? And fortune seems to favour us at times, like with all these last minute goals. But I think now we're starting to really see what this side is able to do. And unfortunately, from a Shamrock Rovers fans' perspective, it's not much, being realistic. Like, we haven't went and scored too many goals this year, Keith. I know we're near top of the table. We're not there now, but like, you have to question this Rovers side, Keith. I don't know what you think, but that's just my opinion on it, because I think that they could probably get a little bit more out of them, but you don't see where it's going to come from.
I think they play well up to a point, Philip, but then when they get near the box, they're relying on pot shots from Graham Burke an awful lot of the time. There seems to be a lack of creativity. Now, in this game, I thought they sent some nice crosses into the box. They were looking for Gaffney, but Drogheda dealt with it quite well, actually, got their head on things and things like that. So they played nice football up to a point, I think. You're talking about the possession thing that Bradley was saying, but teams like Drogheda don't play to have more possession than Shamrock Rovers, so they're sitting in. But I did think in the second half, Drogheda kind of gained confidence from the first half, and they came out a bit, didn't they? And Lions came on and caused a lot of problems, actually held up the ball well. They nearly pinched it at the end from Phillips as well. I know Rovers had a couple of little chances with Gaffney and Mandron as well, actually. But Phillips, that was a great chance at the end to actually get all 3 points.
Should have, in my opinion. Yeah, look, I suppose if Rovers get that chance and they miss it, you're saying, oh, Jesus, like, they should have won the game. Drogheda should have won the game. Do you know what I mean? That's the way you need to look at it. They had that chance. And I suppose, Keith, I always say, Keith, I really like how Drogheda play football. And obviously, it wasn't their prettiest performance in the first half. But as you said, you could see they grew in confidence. And to be honest, I just can't rule them out of Europe, Keith. I know that sounds so mad in the position where they're sitting, but I just think if they can go and keep putting in performances like that, there's no reason why they can't. And like the fact you said it, like he benched Lyons and what's the other fella's name?
Mark Doyle.
Mark Doyle. He benched the two of them. And let's be honest, Keith, they weren't great in the first half, but they did hold their own. Like, do you know what I mean? They were in the game. It wasn't like the Rovers were all over them. So I'm slightly optimistic now, probably a bit too optimistic when I say it, but don't rule them out for Europe just yet. So
they'll have to keep everyone fit, I think, more or less, Philip, and get Brown back as quickly as possible. I know he had a stomach issue, but apparently it's not as bad as they thought it would be. Finished Waterford 1, St. Patrick's Athletic 1 at the RSC. Matty Smith early for Pats and Griffin equalising for Waterford. Pats exploded out of the blocks in this one, Philip, to be honest with you, and should have been 2 or 3 up inside 15 minutes. Benson was taking the mickey, really, to be honest with you. They just looked like they were going to tear Waterford apart, but the red card changed everything. Alfie Lewis red card, picked it up, I think it was on 18 minutes. It was a disappointing one. For me, it was a red card. I know a lot of people said it wasn't, but the way I see it is that he got himself in a muddle. He tried to take on the Waterford player in a silly position, got dispossessed. The two Pats defenders had obviously split from them attacking as such. Lewis pulls them back. I personally don't think the Pats defenders get back on the cover. That's my personal opinion. But even if you didn't think it was a red, you can see why the referee actually gave it. Coughlin was injured for this one for Pats. Forrester, Birmingham and Barrett were kind of rested for this game as well. Waterford now have Adam O'Reilly, who I thought was excellent later on in the game. He's gone back, unfortunately, and so is Jamie Maskell. When Pats went down to 10 men, I thought Waterford were the better side and be disappointed then not to have won the game. What do you think of the red, by the way?
Yeah, definite red. I agree with you, Keith, 100%. I went and looked back, and I just have to say, I think he would have went in, he would have had a shot, without a doubt, in my opinion. Now you can,
I think Lewis, to be honest, Philip, should have let him do it, because Pats were well on top.
Yeah.
If he gets in and scores, you still fancy with Pats with 11 men, the way they looked like they were playing, they'd probably get another goal or two. But as I said, Waterford did, they took over, in my opinion, after that. But yeah.
100%, Keith. And I just personally think that when you do stupid things like that, you get found out. And I just think it's down to inexperience. So I mean, young lads like him. And I was watching it back a bit, and I have to say I agree with everything you said, Keith. I think Pats really came out of the block like a steam train. Like, they looked like they were going to win it comfortably, you know. And but you have to give credit to Waterford. Do you know what I mean? They didn't make a stupid mistake and get sent off. I thought they looked a bit vulnerable at times, but when they had the man sent off for Pats, that completely changed the complexion of the game, as you said, and I thought they were quite good. But I suppose you need to look at it now. A point, if you're looking at it from a Pats perspective after 18 minutes, it's a very good point. If you're looking at it from a Pats perspective before the first 18 minutes, it's a point drop because the game should have been over. In my opinion, the chances that Pats had. And
I do wonder, Philip, if Pats could have dealt better with being down to 10 men.
Yeah,
something to question as well. Maybe
I was just about to mention it, Keith. I just think that they kind of struggled. I think, especially after the first 20 minutes, I thought they really struggled to adjust to the game with being down to 10 men. Again, is that an experience? I don't think so, because I think Pats have really, really good experienced players in that squad. Compared to Waterford, that's for sure. So I just think Waterford adapted well and went about the game with a much more positive attitude. I'd say they kind of thought after the first 18 minutes, oh geez, we're in for one here, and then they get a gift. And let's be honest, after that then it was it looked more like a Waterford result than a Pats. So I would say for Pats it's a good point. 2 points dropped after 18 minutes, as I said, but they can only take a positive out of it and say, look, they got out of the game with something after going down 10 men earlier on. Waterford, though, as you said, Keith, they're losing a couple of lads going back now to England. So yeah. I actually was thinking about this, Keith. I think Bertram has a couple of little gems up his sleeve, in my opinion. I think he has to, he's had time. He knows the lower leagues in English football inside out. He does. So I'd say don't be surprised. I think they're going to do a bit of business, and I think they'll strengthen big time. Whether that be a couple of mature older heads, or maybe a couple of players that might be out of contract, younger lads that might be out of contract. He's at a platform now where he can offer them full-time football. Well, not, you know what I mean, in the context of playing full-time football. So I wouldn't be surprised. Obviously big losses though with the lads going back abroad. So it'll be interesting now because they were starting to build a bit of momentum, Keith. I think you'd agree with me there on that. They look like a much better side, but they'll be two big losses for sure.
Yeah, and disappointed to see O'Reilly go back because he's a player I actually like a lot. And when they first bought him, I thought brought him in. He was a good signing, but Sheedy was playing this long ball stuff. I said that's not going to suit his game, but he's really excelled in the last few weeks. I thought he was the best player in the picture in the end. So disappointing he's going. That's the problem with the 6-month loan contracts in Ireland. But with summer football, you can't do a lot there. It's just a pity they can't get him back, and that's definitely they can't get him back. You finished Dundalk 2, Derry City 1 at Oriel Park. Daniel Kelly, Pat Hooban for Dundalk, a penalty there as well. Owen Toll for Derry City. That's 2 wins in a row now for Vinnie Perton. They leapfrog Derry in the table, Philip. 16 points out of their 22 for Derry have come away from home, and they're yet to win at home this season, which is something I hadn't really looked at and considered, but I just seen that the other day and thought, Janie Mac, which is strange. There's no crowds in a game, so it's hard to really pin your kind of finger on that one. Interestingly as well, Parkhouse came off at half time, no goals in 17 games. And I'd have to be honest, Derry looked a better side without him in the team, which tells me, is the system not really suiting them as well?
Yeah, 100%. I have to say that, what a goal by Will Patchen. Great strike. I've come accustomed to saying that every week. So
he was a ghost in this match. I didn't notice him.
It just didn't turn up, quite literally. Wasn't at all. I think that's why Derry got beat. But now look, I suppose if we're going to talk about Parkhouse, Keith, I think now we're at the stage where I think he needs a couple of weeks out. I think he needs to be pulled out for a couple of weeks, and just, I don't know. I think he just needs. He's not a difficult player. Oh, sorry, I'm about to lose me there. He's not a difficult player. Do you know what I mean? It's not like he's got this sort of mad mentality or character. He's just a player that is just struggling for goals. Simple as that. Do you know what I mean? And whether he needs a soft approach, someone to put a hand on the shoulder and say, look, you look well capable, because we all know he is, that remains to be seen. And obviously, it's very disappointing.
Philip, he's not even missing chances, which is worse, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He's not really getting into positions. Now, you can put that down to creativity as well, but it's not as if Derry don't create anything. But he's not missing chances. Absolutely. You're not going, oh my God, another miss from Parkhouse. How did he miss that? That's nearly worse in many ways because he's not getting the chance. I think he thrives in crosses as well, in my opinion, and Derry don't really play that way, seemingly.
Yeah, and look, it's it's just difficult. I don't like seeing this because nobody likes to see a player going through a spell like this, but 17 games for a centre forward without a goal, like that's hanging offences, like, do you know what I mean? That's what that is, like, and that puts people out of a job. Do you know what I mean? That's like a salesman going to work and not making a sale for a year. Like, it just doesn't happen. So yeah, it'll be very interesting. I suppose the game overall, Keith, I've went back and I've looked at a bit of it. It looked like Derry were in the game without a doubt, you know. And I said it before. I thought Antal would have a really good game, and I thought he did. Even though Derry got beat, he got the goal as well.
He made one brilliant tackle in the game, Philip. You may not have seen it, but it was an excellent tackle in the box. Confidence. He knew he was going to get that.
Everything about him, Keith, it just oozes class. He's like, I know that I don't want to give him too much of a big swelled head, but like, it just reminds me of Van Dijk in this league, in my opinion. He's just so good. Like, I can't believe how good a 22-year-old centre half could be, you know. And like, we've seen last week what happened to Nathan Collins going up to Burnley. Like, I tell you, if he goes to Hearts and he does well, there's no reason why he can't go to a big Premier League side. Like, do you know what I mean? In 2-3 years' time. Like, you know what I mean? He's only 22. Like, I think everyone seems to forget that, like, how young he is when he's playing. You know, he has the maturity of a 28, 29-year-old. So I just think he's only going to get better. And look, Dundalk got the result, and I think now would be a nice time to just give a little mention to Chris Shields. What a player he's been. I know we spoke about it briefly, but just...
I was going to bring it up. Have you read my notes? You couldn't not, though, couldn't you not?
Nah, like, what a player. One of the greatest of all time that this league will ever see. The achievements he's got, and look, this is just the respect I have for him as a player in general. Rivalries aside with Dundalk over the past few years, just a magnificent footballer, an absolute joy to watch. And I swear to God, when I say this, I used to hate playing Dundalk, and the main reason was he just bossed midfield. There was very few games like born goal where Rovers won 3-2 in Tala. I know we got the upper hand of them on a couple of times, but a lot of the time we weren't on the end of the result. So I think he was a major influence in that. And look, what an absolute legend, Keith. He'll go down as one of the greatest, as I said. And I'm devastated for a Dundalk perspective, because he had plenty more to offer. He'll go to Linfield and he'll do well without question. But look, do you know something? He's done it for long enough. He owes nothing to anybody, as Keano said last week. He does not owe anything, anyone, any player, any manager, anything in this league. He's done it all, and it's just credit to him. And I have to say, fair play to the Dundalk boys, because they gave him a brilliant send-off, you know, and they done the best of what they could. And that's how a legend gets sent off, the way they done that. And
Look, Philip, you're not really seeing that in the Premier League, are you? In England?
No, you don't.
Not that closeness, do you know what I mean? Not that bond or that...
exactly.
You see how close the fans were to him, etc. You're not getting that for a Van Dijk or a John Terry or whoever it is, like, you know? It's not quite happening.
A couple of young lads stayed out after and all, stayed a good while after the game to get a picture with him and send him on his way. And like, if someone does that, if someone is doing things like that to send off someone, to say to someone, look, thanks for everything you've done for us, like, that says a lot about him, you know. Great footballer, even better man, and I wish him nothing but the best. And you know, you can only give him credit and tip your hat to him. He done it all, and I could talk about him all day, because he was just majestic. He was majestic. So all the best to him, and I'm sure you would agree with me, Keith. He'll go down as one of the greatest of all time. That's for sure.
I fully agree. The thing I liked about him, Philip, was just a real pro, a player that didn't have the natural skills like some other players, like, say, a Jack Byrne or someone, but a player that's really worked hard to become the player he is now. Like, he's so decorated now at this stage as well. He's won everything. He's been in the Europa League. He's been there with Kenny. He's actually an icon of the Dundalk revolution in many ways as well, I think. You know, he will go down as a legend at that club, a legend in the league. Very intelligent footballer. If you watch him play, won't do anything that he feels he's incapable of doing, but very intelligent footballer. Gets the best out of others. I've never seen a player maybe stop the likes of Jack Byrne as much as he has in a game as well. When he was missing for that cup final, that was huge that time. Absolutely huge that he was missing for that cup final. Look, you've said it all yourself, but that's my little piece on it as well. Before we move on, actually, Dundalk played actually really well in this game overall. I think it was the best performance of the season against a decent Derry team. Michael Duffy as well, particularly. I thought he was excellent in this game. Really good performance. McElhenney was doing his bits as well. When he's on form, he's a joy to watch. So it was good to see that because I get sick of giving out to them as well. So it was nice to talk about Chris Shields and Dundalk in a good light.
Quick question before we move on, Keith. Being realistic, are they still definitely gone out of Europe, do you think? Definitely. With performance
top
like that?
three, yeah. Top three is, they could nick fourth, and we don't know what fourth will do in terms of Europe because they're 7 points behind Bohemians, aren't they? Sorry, they're 3 points behind Bohemians, but they're 11 points off Sligo. I don't see it. But Bohemians, potentially, we'll get on to them later. But we'll get on to Finn Harps and Longford, Philip. Finn Harps won, Longford won. Olabi scored for Finn Harps after Dobbs had given Longford the lead. McNamee missed a penalty in this game as well, which could be huge because they're only 7 points above Waterford. And I know they're struggling with a few players injured. Webster, Folan, a few defenders are playing with injuries, but 2 wins in 14 for Finn Harps. 1 win all season for Longford, which was the opening day of the season, Philip. We're going to talk about the Longford goal from Dobbs because I thought personally it should have been given as an offside. You think it should have counted. Is that right, yeah?
I'm not going to tell you for facts. I'm not going to say facts.
Either am I, though.
I'm gonna give you the perspective of what I think the referee's seeing. I think the referee is standing directly behind it. If you look at the replays, I'm not saying the referee's got it right. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's got it right. But it just looks like the Longford player is heading it towards the far post. The way he set his body up and the way he heads the ball. And if you just stop there was as you said on Twitter, there's a video put up from Longford town. They put a video
different
up.
Angle,
if you just stop it, from a different angle. If you just stop it, it just looks, the ball actually disappears as he's heading it. That doesn't happen. If you head a ball and it's going straight forward, you see the ball the whole way. Whereas when he heads it, it disappears for a second and then pops out. Now, if you go to 8 seconds, I've stopped it on the SSE Airtricity page. If you go to 8 seconds, you'll see his setup and how he looks like he's about to head the ball. As I said, it looks like he's going to the far corner. And the fact the referee is standing behind that, I think he sees a touch off Boyle. Now, I've messaged Boyle on Twitter, as I said to you. If we get a response before we put this out, I'm sure you'll drop it in below what he says. But I think he's touched that, and that's why I think the goal has been given. But saying that, he's the only person that knows. Do you know what I mean? I'd say maybe McGinley or whatever his name is knows. The goalkeeper's probably seen it as well. But
he got booked, by the way, for arguing. So
that just goes to show. You said
the way
I
see it then, Philip, I'll throw my end in now, I suppose. Dylan Grimes cracking shot, by the way, off the bar, comes out. And Boyle is obviously, I can't remember who the Longford player is actually, but the Longford player and Boyle are kind of beside each other, basically. It looks like, to me personally, the Longford player heads it on to Dobbs, who scores, which means he should be offside. Now, the linesman gave it as offside. The referee did overrule him, as you said. I did look back, though, and I think personally it should have been disallowed. But I was looking at the reactions as well. And for me, the Longford player who, we'll say now, heads the ball, seemed hesitant that the goal was going to be given. There was a lot of looking, and he seemed hesitant. Boyle seemed pretty sure, you would say. I would also say that the referee only overruled the linesman when a Longford player had a word with the referee. So there's a lot of little elements and bits here that, do you know what I mean? It's a strange one that way. It looks like to me, I don't think Boyle gets a head onto it. We can't see for sure, but that's the way I personally see it. It would be interesting to see what Ethan Boyle actually said about it, by the way. So if you're watching,
hopefully we have that. Hopefully we do get that before this goes out.
But it's an interesting talking point for sure, and just another controversial, I suppose, decision. Be interested to see what people's views are on it as well. But one, I suppose, from Finn Harps got away from them in many ways because McNamee did miss a penalty, which would have given them the win. As I said, they're only 7 above Waterford, struggling a bit with injury at the moment. 2 wins of 14. They could have done with the 3 points, couldn't they?
Yeah, I think so. and you've said it, Keith, they're struggling with a few injuries at this stage now, and it's just, I keep saying it, Keith, week in, week out, I think Finn Harps are a really, really good side, but they're not putting results on the board now anymore. That start of the season is long gone. Like it's way past that now. And I still think they'll be all right, but you can't keep losing games like this. Simple as that. Like, do you know what I mean? It's just not something that's good for any team, and they're really scratching at it now, trying to get points on the board. And yeah, I don't know. I just think the likes, you can't depend on Foley. You can't depend on depend rather on your main players to perform week in, week out. Your 3 or 4 players that they have. Like, so it's going to be a very interesting couple of weeks now for Finn Harps coming up. Hopefully they can get their players right, because it's something you don't like to see, is a squad playing without their best players on the team. Longford, though, Keith, I think they'll look at this as a good point. I thought they played well in spells, but I didn't think they were the better side for sure. I thought Finn Harps were decent in the game and probably deserved to win it, as you said there, with the missed penalty and such. So I think they'll look at it as a point picked up rather than 2 points dropped for sure. But I'm really starting to worry now about Longford. I don't know. I just can't see them. If you look at it now, right, Keith, the last couple of weeks in the First Division, the teams that are in the top 6, they're looking a bit stronger. And as you look at Longford, I still think they may just have enough. But if they finish in that spot, it's obviously going to be off the back of a load of poor results. So I can see it being a very close contest if they do finish 9th in terms of who they play in the playoffs. So it's going to be on a fine wire. I can't wait for the playoff myself personally, but at the same time, you'd be kind of just a bit concerned now from a Longford perspective.
I think so. The only thing is with them, they're well set up, that if they do go down, they're not in any financial trouble or anything like that. So they've done it the right way, I suppose. Finished Sligo Rovers 4, Bohemians 0 at the Showgrounds. And where do I start here? I mean, young Kenny, unbelievable. He got a hat-trick. The Frees got 1. Sligo were missing Buckley, McCourt and Parks. Nadeau commentary, Sligo first win in 3, Bowes first defeat in 6. First of all, Joseph Nadeau commentary, your opinion. He seems to be Marmite here, doesn't he?
Welcome to heaven.
What do you think?
What a man.
What do you think?
I think
you like him?
I love it. Absolutely love it. The passion the man has, he's just so good. And I was literally saying it to one of the lads there, when he started screaming goal, I died at laughter, but I was just so happy because you need something like that. Do you know what I mean? I go back to last Monday and that Muppet that was commentating on the Bows game, just night and day difference of what LOI should be about. I just think they should go for a more vibrant, exuberant commentator that just brings a bit more passion. Whereas this other fella talking about acid trips and all, I just can't. It still drives me mad. So I just think Joey, what a commentator, what a footballer, but what a commentator as well.
But he loves every last fine detail, doesn't he? And if you're trying to get someone into the League of Ireland, you know what I mean? He's the passion is infectious, and he's from Cameroon, remember, as well. He's not even Irish. Yeah. And he loves the game here. I mean, and not just about Sligo. Sligo performed very well in this game, but even Bowles players have done something well. He's the same enthusiasm. Do you know what I mean? I think he's excellent personally. For the game itself, though, this was unbelievable. I thought it was a great game of football. Weirdly, Bowles didn't play badly in terms of on the ball. They were poor off the ball. On the ball, they created chances to play nice stuff. Sligo were absolutely brilliant, but I thought they bullied Bowles in this game. I think I've come to a bit of a conclusion about Bowles and my total opinion on them. I think they're a nice football team with a lot of nice footballers, but I think they lack grit. They lack hard players in that team. If things are going against them, I'm not sure they have the shovelers, let's say, to get them out of it. Sligo have footballers, but they also have your Bulgers. Morahan can stick his foot in. At the back there, if Buckley was there, Mahan, Lewis Banks, all these kind of players. The Freeze is a big lad as well. But, I thought Sligo they bullied Bowes in this game and could have got 7 or 8 as well, to be honest with you. It was a fantastic performance and puts them back top of the table. 3 teams top of the table with a plus 13 goal difference.
mental. And do you know something, Keith? I just think when it comes to it, balls flake like dandruff when it comes to games like this, like, you know. And I've got my own perspective on it as a goalkeeper, right? I'll throw you back to a situation that happened on Monday. Borky had a shot, thought it made a good save, but he actually parried it into danger. But there was no Rovers player there until someone on the edge of the box got the shot away. I can't think of who got the second shot away, but he had time to get back up. One of the goals, he was completely at fault for one of Kenny's goals, because it was a shot from distance and he's palmed it right down on.
Yeah.
Gibson's shot. He's palmed it right into the path to Kenny. He's not palmed it away. He's palmed it right back into danger. And it just goes back to me theory. He's not a good goalkeeper. You know, like, don't get me wrong, you can pull out some brilliant saves, but when it comes to the basics, I just don't think he does them well enough. I think Philip,
he can make, I said it before to me, he's a good goalkeeper, but I think he makes a lot of absolutely brilliant saves that are acrobatic and that, but he makes quite a few errors as well. That's the way I see him. Like, you know, he can look spectacular, but in terms of a safe goalkeeper, I don't think he's necessarily the best in the league, like some others may think he is, but that'd be my opinion on him. But I just think with Bows, they're a nice team, and nobody likes to be called a nice team.
Yeah. I don't see. I wouldn't disagree with you on that, but I have to say, I think personally they can get up for games when they want, and I think we've seen that on Monday. Do you know what I mean? Like,
on the flip side, Sligo were brilliant as well. You have to give credit to Sligo. They were absolutely unbelievable on the day. And Johnny Kenny, I mean, his performance, I put it up on Instagram or something, not just the goals, but Jesus Christ, Philip. I mean, from the first minute, strength, and he's not a strong man, so that shows he's tough. You know what I mean? Aggression, anticipation for that goal that Gibson took the shot. A lot of strikers would have hesitated for a second, the chance is gone. Anticipation, movement. What else can you say? Like,
he was
18 years of age.
One of the best 18-year-old performances I've ever seen on any football team, any football pitch. Sligo have been in really, really poor form coming into this game.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show, like, you know, Bows are nowhere near challenging for a league. And even if Rovers don't win the league, the fact I know that is very, very reassuring. Do you know what I mean? But as I said about Sligo, Keith, what a performance from Kenny. But just in general, they look fantastic, you know, and you can't take anything away from them, because even though Bows were there, they were in the game, the amount of chances, as you said, like, they could have had 7 or 8, and just the style of football as well was very attractive. Like, the other day we're talking about Pat's looking favourites for the league. Sligo go out and do that now. Do you know what I mean? And Rovers are faulting again. Like, so it's just mental. And I'm pretty sure probably next week now I'll be looking at it and saying, "Oh, Rovers are a dead cert." And that's what I love about this league, Keith. And I think you'd agree with me this year. Although it might not be the best quality division we've seen for a long time, it's still very entertaining, and it's brilliant that teams. We thought maybe, I think we said it on a previous show, that there would probably be a couple of changes in the table, but not too much from now until the rest of the season. I think we said that about a month ago or so. But there's chopping and changing all over the place. Like, do you know what I mean? Finn Harps are being talked about for Europe. As Horgan said, they probably got as far as Lords. He probably wasn't even right about that, the way they're playing at the moment. So, it's just fantastic. Like, and I have to say, Keith, I don't know about you, but I'm thoroughly enjoying it. And as soon as the game is finished, I'm like, right, when's the next set of fixtures? Because I just can't get enough of it at the minute. And I'm pretty sure everyone else is the same. Even with the Euros on, everyone's just like, woof, big time. Like I
was saying there, if somebody who wasn't really into League of Ireland watched Sligo and Bows, particularly from Sligo's point of view, obviously, but in general, the game, and thought, nah, then there's something seriously wrong with them.
You don't know football.
That's taking the mickey, like, you know what I mean? That's just, it's Irish. I decided in my brain to tell you that I didn't enjoy that. There's no way anybody could have possibly not enjoyed that game of football. And as you say, the competitive nature of the league, 3 teams on top, 13 goal difference, exact same goal difference. Anyone technically, more or less, can beat anyone, more or less.
Yeah.
Even Longford are competitive. I know they've only one win, but they're competitive. Like, I mean, what kind of league? That's what you want. Do you want to see Bayern Munich win the league every year in Germany? Like, how is that more entertaining than this? And it's not even, it doesn't even come down to the quality of football to me necessarily. It comes down to the entertainment value, which is a different thing altogether.
Absolutely. And it reminds me of the league in Sweden 2 years ago. Or last year, I think it was. Like the last day, 4 teams could win the title. And brilliant. I think it'll go right down to the wire here as well. Do you know what I mean? Just the way things are going, like, you know, slightly worried from a Shamrock Rovers perspective that if we keep playing like this, we may fall out of it. Like, and it may be a 2-horse race. But people are saying, I know, and look, people are saying it, but two months ago we were going to run away with the league, and look where we are now. The recruitment that's going on at the minute, the supposed recruitment rather, the way Rovers are playing, it's just a bit concerning from a Rovers perspective. And maybe I'm probably being a bit negative on it, Keith, and you've said it before, you think Rovers will get over the line I don't see it. I just don't see it at the minute. And as I said, it's chopping and changing. Next week we could be saying, it's great, Rovers won 2 on the bounce. Sligo and Pats have got points. That's it. It's done. Like, you know what I mean? But that's the thing we love about this league. And I think I'll go back to another point you made, Keith, about that game on Saturday. It was brilliant that it was a standalone game because a lot more people watched it. And I think that's something that is needed more. I think RTE, Watch LOI, all the people that are associated with the division need to step up and say, right, there's a big game here in this set of fixtures coming up. Rovers Dundalk. Let's put that standalone. Bows and Pats or whoever, big Dublin derbies, put them standalone games, because
if that game was a Friday night, Philip, and I watched it back, I would have enjoyed it, but I wouldn't have enjoyed it as much as seeing it live and seeing it unfold. Yeah.
And the fact is, Keith, you're looking, if they're all the games on together, you're kind of watching a game, but you're dipping out of that game to look at other scores, and that takes away from the experience of the match as well. Do you know what I mean? Whereas with Saturday, you're completely focused on the game. Great quality football. Brilliant commentary from Joey and Dow, and the first commentator that was on as well. I thought he was very good. But yeah, I just think everyone has to take positives out of that game because it was just really, really good. Even Bows, because they didn't play terrible. They played okay. Fair enough, on the scoreline, they were swept aside. But on a general consensus...
they were awful, though, to be fair.
Yeah,
I thought Buckley actually really struggled in the middle of the park. It just seemed to be wave after wave. Now, that mightn't have been his fault. He might have been isolated. You know, there's not much you can do if you're one man. You're isolated. Yeah. But just that happens to them every now and again, to be honest.
Yeah, and I suppose, Keith, if things go the other way and both take a couple of chances that they had in the first half, you never know. Like, but you can't compensate for poor defending, as you've just said. So, look, it'll be interesting now to see if they can respond next week, because as we've seen, a lot of teams struggle to respond. And
I'm smiling because they're playing Pats next week. That's why I'm smiling, keeping a bit quiet.
I know. Yeah, so another big Dublin derby. Another game that they could very well get revved up for, which I think they may. I don't know, like the way two teams have had results this weekend, it could go either way from the top of the bat. But I suppose roll on next week now, Keith, because the football at the minute is just smashing, and I'm really enjoying every single game that's going on.
Brilliant stuff, Philip. Really enjoyed that. Lads, let us know what you think in the comments. Subscribe, hit your bell notification button, and like the video. Brilliant stuff. Thanks, Philip.
Nice one.